You guys remember Power Rangers? Cool. Anyways, here's Samurai Flamenco. You ever find yourself thinking, man, Batman is just a little too emotional for my taste? Or maybe, I liked the Power Rangers, but I didn't like how much sense it made. Thankfully, our paste-flavored hero Hazama has dreams of standing up for what's right, using only his fists and office supplies. It's actually a pretty compelling idea. A nerdy kid believes he's the next Red Ranger and wants to step in to show the world that heroes are real. He's just a good dude trying to stop petty crime that police don't have time to deal with, like people leaving their trash out too early. It's a fun idea, but Sam's Club Flamenco is 22 episodes long. That sure seems like a lot for a little parody.
Hey, what about a gorilla with a guillotine in his stomach?
I suppose something like that would help put a bit of a twist on the series, but I don't know where you would fit that in. Yeah, so the twist is that monsters are suddenly real. Oh, and the TV heroes are also kinda real? I don't know. It goes off the rails, but we'll get to that point soon. Anyways, real monsters start showing up at the behest of the big bad guy. It's a shame our Abercrombie & Fitch model can't handle the monsters on his own because he's a dweeb. So he teams up with Regina George and she alone starts killing monsters while he sucks his thumb nearby. Just do something important, dude. For God's sakes, you're the title character. Well, captures the mean girls in order to lure Pumpkin Pie Flamenco into his trap. Which is honestly a lot less of a trap and more just an Evil Dead style fight, but regardless. Now, as he's legally required to do, King Torture explains his big plan to turn people into monsters using a big missile. Thanks to that, we get a great scene with our actual hero, Goto, where he drives a truck into the big missile.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Cool. I suppose we can talk about Goto now. He's a good boy who just wants to see his long-distance girlfriend. He's a cop by day, cuck for his samurai boyfriend at night. So what's actually wrong with him? He's a little too good to fit into this. Is he A, secretly the bad guy, B, an alien, or C, insanely texting himself pretending to be his dead girlfriend who was killed by a bus driver? Yeah, he's kind of off his fucking rocker. Although it's actually played really well when the final bad guy deletes all his texts. It's a pretty good scene. But DJ Toothpaste decides his final act of heroism will be to replace Goto's dead girlfriend with himself. Okay, it's pretty fucked up. Now seems like a pretty good time to talk about how it deals with romance, which I only want to briefly touch on because people seem to have very strong views on it, and I'm not bold enough to go against the grain that much. The two relationships in the series that are really shown off is Hazama and Goto and Moe and Mari. Both of these relationships to me seem borderline abusive. Mari is excessively rude to Moe, even leaving her to die at the hands of And on the other hand, Hazama and Goto's relationship is even weirder because Hazama is very upfront about making himself Goto's last string of sanity. That feels abusive. It feels less romantic and more just Hazama throwing himself at an issue because he doesn't see another option. Haha, whoa, a little off track. Anyways, where was the main story going again? Right, Hazama kills and saves the day. Well, no, he doesn't, because now we enter into the zone of tropes. Aliens appear, there's actually been a secret organization creating the Saban team, Captain America shows up at some point claiming that bullets are ineffective against Americans. Oh boy, I don't know about that one. And in typical fashion, a long-lost brother also shows up. I'll be honest, I really dozed off with the aliens. Here's just the basic rundown. The other Power Rangers weren't that interesting, the new aliens weren't that interesting, the other mascots all being real heroes was pretty cool, and him becoming friends with a personified universe might have been the biggest shark jump I've ever seen. After dies, I'd give the next arc a C-. Passing, but definitely fell asleep during the lectures. The final villain is good, I guess. He's like a piece of Kraft bread. It's not bad, it's just bland. It's better than normal white bread, but it's still just bread. Like, it's obvious someone put a lot of effort and care into this bread, but blindfolded, I don't think I could tell the difference between this bread from a crowd of other breads. Sure, the bread is young, which is unique for a villainous bread, but it's not enough to make it a memorable loaf. But at least on the bright side, this loaf gave fans a ship to sail. Okay. Yeah, Samurai Flamenco's alright. Parody is a difficult thing to nail down, and they really did a good job with it, until they didn't. The show stepped away from parody and into cliché when it didn't take a new look at its own genre. It started really interesting with someone who grew up watching seinen shows and deciding that that's what justice is, then twisting his worldview and introducing real monsters threw a wrench in the system that was engaging to watch. Unfortunately, most of the series wasn't that. Instead, most of the series was just the same thing that they were parodying. Comparing it to shows like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, shows that also parody a genre, really shows the shortcomings of Samurai Flamenco. Those other shows went so over the top that it was clear they were always parody. The problem with the Power Rangers genre is that it's already so over the top that any attempt to cross the boundary feels like it could fit into the genre. And that's my big problem with Samurai Flamenco. It feels less of a parody and more just the show that it's parodying. Regardless, it was pretty good. I'd give it a decent out of 10.